Hi everybody, this is Ellen with Ellen Vargo Designs. Thank you for joining me today. Today's project is this one. I made this original box for a family member for a birthday recently, and it's got a nice little cigar sleeve that slides off and then the box opens up. Holds a nice jewelry box nicely, but I'm sure it would hold any number of things. So we're going to make another one. I actually made another one last week. See, pretty. And then proceeded to lose the video. So we're going to make another one just like this one today. So we're going to start with a piece of Tangerine Tango cardstock. And we're going to, it measures 5 3/4 by 8 1/2. So on the 8 1/2 inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3 1/4, 4 1/2, and 7 1/4. And then we'll turn it to the short side and score at 1 1/4 and 4 1/2. Scoring tool out of the way. So we will fold and burnish all of our score lines. I'll find my bone folder. There it is. So with cardstock, it's important to score firmly because we want a nice crisp edges on our box. My husband is outside. He decided it would be a good time to use the chainsaw, so hopefully it isn't coming through in the video, or I'll have to film it for a third time. So just gonna do our best. So we've folded all of our score lines and burnished, and we need to trim some items away, some long scissors. This end here is going to be the end that is the lid and flips around, and this end will tuck in. So we're going to take away this section and that section on both sides. So just cut straight up. And there's that chainsaw again. And then we're going to cut into these two square sections on both sides. So we're going to cut straight up here, and then we're going to wedge in a little bit so we'll get a nice clean finish when we close the box. Do the same on this one. And we'll turn around and do the same on the other side. Get those out of the way. So we're left with this shape. So these square tabs are going to fold in to form our box base, and then the lid will fold around and tuck in. So on the right side, we're going to put some adhesive on all of the square tabs. I'm using Fast Fuse, which I love. I was so sad when I learned that Stampin' Up! Is not going to be continuing that in the next catalog. I have come to really love this adhesive because it's super strong and great for box making. So I'll be very curious to see if they have an alternative for us when the new catalog comes in June. But for now, I am still going to use it. So now we've got our lid, which will tuck in. We're going to round the corners And the envelope punch board has a nice corner rounder on the back side, so we'll use that. So now our box will tuck in and close. So now that we have that done, we need to create the cigar band that will go around it, the sleeve. So for that, we're going to use a strip of paper from the Whole Lot of Lovely Designer Series paper collection, which I absolutely adore. This is one of the patterns, and we're going to layer it on top of a strip of Pool Party cardstock. So we can use snail for that. Just line up the end. So it's got a border on each side. And then, starting at the back, I'm going to put the jewelry box inside just to give the box some structure while we're wrapping. So I put that in there just temporarily. If we start on the back side, we're just going to gently fold where each of the sides is. And you don't want it to be too tight or your box will buckle and you won't be able to get the cigar band off. So don't be concerned about making it super fitted, and because it'll backfire, trust me on this. So once you know where the score lines should be, you can go back in and reinforce them with your bone folder. And hopefully this will work out nicely. The last one I did was a little bit too tight, and it didn't work out nicely. So let's see how we're doing here. So that's good. Got one more. And we will have a little bit extra at the end that we can chop off. So if we just chop off the end, and then we can use some fast fuse, ready to go, to adhere the two ends together. Just fold it around and bring the two ends together so it meets up. And we've got our box. A little bit snug, but it's coming off okay. So now we need to make the little label for the top. I used the Happy Birthday to You stamp from the Label Me Pretty stamp set, which matches up with the pretty label, which is great. So I did a little bit of work ahead of time with some coloring just to save time on the video. I used blender pens with Tangerine Tango ink and Old Olive ink to color in the flowers and the leaves. And now I'm going to use the blender pen with Pool Party to color in the banner. So to do this, you just, while your ink pad is closed, just give it a gentle squeeze, and that'll transfer some ink to the lid, which you can then use as a palette, and you pick up the ink with your blender pen, and then you can just color with it. So it's super easy, and it really turns your ink pads into watercolors. And I'm just kind of starting on the outside and doing quick flicking brush strokes towards the inside, just to give it a little bit of color variation. The ink will run out eventually, and you'll have darker and lighter areas, which is nice. It gives the illusion of some depth in your coloring. So there's our banner, or our happy birthday. So we can now use the pretty label punch to punch that out. Just line things up nicely and give it a punch. And close up our ink pad. And then I also punched out the same label with Tangerine Tango, and we will layer those up with some dimensionals. So we're going to offset them a little bit. So we put some dimensionals on the back. And then we'll just offset those a little bit so that the orange peeks through. Gives a little bit of a border. And we'll put some more dimensionals on the back of that. And we will attach that to the top of our box. So, pretty, huh? I really like it. I think it's so beautiful and just makes a nice gift even a little bit nicer with handmade box and handmade wrapping. As you can see, my sleeve is still a little bit tight. It's buckling a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I think it's still pretty. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have all the supplies that I use linked in the description area below, and all of the measurements for the box will be on my blog. So don't worry about having to pause and write everything down. I hope you'll stop by my blog and let me know what you think, or leave a comment on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and I hope you give this a try. Thanks for visiting. Have a great day. Bye.